So we're live, waiting for a few people to join in, and then we get started for today. You so excited? Okay, I'm excited too, and I'm really nervous to be doing this with Eirik tonight. Awesome, so let's get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my series of informal conversations with stalwarts in the music business. This being my third live session of this series, I'm delighted to have a very special guest today. It happens to be a celebrity artist. A couple of years back, I was introduced to this Norwegian duo called the Kings of Convenience. These guys hail from Bergen in the west coast of Norway. The duo has been considered to be Norway's answer to Simon and Garfunkel. Misread was probably one of the very first Kings of Convenience songs that really got me interested in the band. And I had this phase, where I wanted to experiment a lot more of their music. I tried Cayman Islands, I tried I'd Rather Dance With You, Know How, and the list goes on, right? So I loved most of the songs from their album Riot on an Empty Street. And till date, it happens to be one of my very favorite albums. Little did I know that I'd reach this very day of being in conversation with none other than Eirik from the band. Talking about Eirik, his music and songwriting has impacted over 1 million aspiring musicians in Europe and other parts of the world. He embodies the highest aspirations of indie singer-songwriters in the world. And without any further delay, I'd like to call my special guest for the evening, Eirik. Could you join us on? Let me figure if he's joined the session. I will have to send him a request. Hi.
Hey there. Hey there. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you pretty well.
I see half my head. I'm just gonna move the camera
All
a
right,
little further away from me here. Here.
Right, for sure.
Hey there.
Yeah. So how are you? How is it going?
Going very well.
Are the kids at school right now?
My kids are in school. Yes. It's
Okay,
now.
so you get a little bit of relaxation time during the day, is it?
My work time is during the day when my kids are in school. That's when I do most of the practical office work, managing all the practical issues. And then in the night, when they go to bed, I play music and record music.
Incredible, man. It's great the way you try to have a balance between your music and your family, give time for your kids. You really know how to prioritize between the two, right? Must be quite a task.
Yeah, so I have 3 sons, which means
okay, that's a huge family. Very interesting.
Besides my music.
Okay, great. So Eirik, could you tell us a little bit about how the early 90s inspired you to get into music and your journey as a 16-year-old when you started out with your first band? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my inspiration in the early years of my career came from very different experiences.
Okay.
So at that time, in the late 90s, the dance music scene was very important. House music and techno music and the rediscovery of rhythmical dance genres from many countries, like African dance music and Brazilian stuff. And I would go every weekend to clubs and dance and be very fascinated by this music. At the same time, my mother had a very strong passion for jazz music.
Wow.
And she bought a guitar wanting one of her children. I have two siblings. She wanted at least one of us to be able to play an instrument, and I'm the youngest. And at the age of 16, I still hadn't learned to play the guitar, and she was getting a little bit eager to push me into playing music. So she invited me to a guitar store and told me that she was buying a very beautiful classical guitar for herself, for her own use, and she just wanted me to help her. So I helped her pick out this beautiful guitar, and then she took it home. And then she never touched it, and obviously she got me interested because I had taken part in the process of buying the guitar. So I started playing the guitar every day.
Incredible.
I was 50. I was 15 and a half. That was the age, 15 and a half.
Wow, that's quite an early age to start out in terms of classical music. So were you primarily interested in a lot of classical music when you started out?
Not really. Well, I started learning some classical guitar pieces, but I quickly developed a strong love for bossa nova music.
Bossa nova, yeah.
The rich harmonies of bossa nova guitar chords was what fascinated me most, and so my love for music developed. So a typical day in my life would be I had been out dancing in a club to house music, and then late in the night we didn't do drugs or we're not into alcohol. So we were dancing, and then we came home sober, and then my guitar was there, and I started fiddling around with my guitar.
Great, man, great. I feel as a musician, discipline is the key. And you guys did all of that, and due to which you guys turned out to be so successful, right? Like how you mentioned that you were very disciplined with the way you approached things. Like you go out to a club, you have your set of fun time, and then you come back home, and then you get back to your daily routine, right? So that's
exactly. Or I'm not sure if maybe discipline is the word, or just the love of work. If you love work, then maybe you don't need a discipline. For sure. But spending a lot of hours, whatever you love doing, if you spend a lot of hours doing it, then you're more likely to become successful.
Oh, great. So we have a lot of interesting people who've joined the session. So we have someone from Second Sight Music. So these guys are from Bombay, and they are truly inspired by the Kings of Convenience. They take a lot of inspiration from the music that you guys make, right? And then there's another band from Pune called the Easy Wonderlings. So these guys also are very heavily inspired by the Kings of Convenience.
Nice.
And they in fact even did a couple of covers of I think Misread and Boat Behind at a couple of Indian festivals. They're huge huge fans of your music.
One of the most wonderful things for me is to see other people from other parts of the world playing my music. It's a great joy. I just really love it. It's very hard to explain why I love this so much, but there's something about the idea that became a song is a very lonely and intimate and private thing. And when I hear it played by someone else, a person I've never met in another part of the world, it's this circle conclusion, this feeling of everything coming together, everything falling in place. If I hear it back from somewhere else in the other part of the world, it's like an echo of something that came from me, but hearing it come back to me from someone else just gives me a lot of pleasure.
Glad to hear that. So your music can be described as intimate music with a lot of calming voices, delicate tunes, and subtle guitar melodies, right? So how did it really work for you when you played on a very huge setup? Like, say, if you're playing for an audience of, say, a lakh, how did it exactly work out for you? Was it a little scary to be playing?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like we are fighting a dragon with toothpicks. You know, it's that
Right.
feel, being two people on the guitar
Right.
and guitars
Yeah.
on a huge stage in front of 10,000 or 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't feel like we have a lot of artillery. We only have these
For
two
sure.
guitars.
For sure.
So yeah, we're nervous for sure. We're very nervous every time we perform. But at the
Okay.
same time, this fragility of our project
Okay.
is part of the magic. Like
Right.
everyone who's there in the audience, they know, they can sense that this can actually fail. Like there's a chance that this thing that's happening right now can fail.
Right.
If we break a nail or a guitar string or I lose my voice, there's nothing left. And this sense of fragility, I think, is part of the reason why people enjoy hearing our music played live. It creates this tension, and when it's working, everybody just feels so relief. Yeah.
That's very, you put it across very well. So also to ask you a little bit about songwriting. So you started out as Kings of Convenience. Before that, you had Skog, which was like your early on project with Erland again, and then you have your latest project, right? So could you tell us how is it different in each project, the whole songwriting process for you, right? So when you write music for Kings of Convenience, when you wrote it on like probably in your formative years of Skog, and then your new project, how is each piece of songwriting different, right? Do you see a lot of maturity also as you've developed as a songwriter, right?
So I have two bands, Kommode and Kings of Convenience.
Right.
In Kings of Convenience, I sing and play guitar.
Right.
In Kommode, I play bass and sing.
Right. Right.
My songwriting for Kings of Convenience is very simple. It's whenever I write a song, playing my guitar, it's a Kings of Convenience song in my mind. Whenever I sit down with my guitar and write a song, it's a Kings of Convenience song.
Okay.
And then I want to keep every song that I label as a Kings of Convenience song. I want everything to have an element of Erland. So my bandmate Erland, he will have a part in everything I write for King's Convenience. And the same with his songs. When he presents songs to me that we agree to be a King's Convenience song, there will be a little gap in the song that he will invite me to write a third part, or up with a guitar solo, or so there's, in almost every song we've made together, there's an element of the other person. So we share our songwriting credits 50%, like we say 50% or 50% me, and then we never discuss who's actually doing more or who's doing less, but we take part in each other's songwriting.
That's great. So both of you go hand in hand, right? So have you faced any challenge, or have you faced any differences in terms of ideas when you tried working together? Has it always been smooth for the two of you, or have you had like any creative differences in the thoughts?
We have a lot of disagreements and arguing, and we tend to think that we disagree more than we actually do. We have this pattern of communication where one says A and the other one will say B, or I will say yes and he will say no. And there's this dynamic between the two of us where there's a lot of I don't know if it's competition or if it's just individualism, but there's a lot of battle between us. And when we write songs together, there is an element of this, but at the same time, the core of our relationship is incredibly fine-tuned taste, which is similar. Like Erland's musical taste and my musical taste is incredibly in tune. We have this. There was this funny story a few years ago. We were on tour, and our engineer, it was his birthday. With the same sound engineer for many years. His name is Trevi, and it was his birthday. So before the sound check, me and Erlen, we were in Copenhagen in Denmark. Before the check, we agreed we will go to a store and buy a present for Trevi because it's his birthday. So we need to bring a birthday present for the sound check. And then we were in the store discussing what should we buy for Trevi, and obviously we couldn't agree. We had different ideas.
Choices.
So you go to one store, I will go to another store. I will buy one gift, you will buy another gift, and then we'll present this to Trevi. And then later we gave Trevi the presents. Erlen first came with his piece. It was a green knit woolen sweater.
Wow.
Very nice. And then I came with my present for Trevi. He opened it. It was a green knit woolen sweater. We had actually bought it. We'd gone to 2 different stores.
Very cute story, man.
Same thing. And I think that exemplifies the Kings of Convenience dynamic.
Some great chemistry.
There's a lot of tension, but there's a lot of similar ideas going on through my mind and Erlen's mind. We've been playing together and listening to music together since we were 15 years old. So we've had a lot of time to influence each other.
Lovely. So we have a couple of questions for you on the feed. So we have Nashius who's asking something like, do you think your multilingualism helps the uniqueness of your songwriting?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have tried to write songs in Norwegian in the first years of our career. We were writing songs in Norwegian. We discovered that when we wrote in English, the language becomes more of a tool. Like my guitar is a tool for songwriting. The language of the English language becomes more of a tool to me. It's something a little bit more. I have a little feeling of being distant from the language. So when I say something in Norwegian, it tends to be very personal. But when I say in same words in English, then there's a level of distance and objectivity, which for me makes it easier. So the being able to write songs in another language for me has been, and obviously the chances to go around the world and speak to you today in India, this wouldn't have happened if we'd stick to Norwegian. So there's a lot of benefit.
Yeah, so it's probably a very good medium to connect with globally, with people who can probably relate to on a common medium, right? So you've managed to establish common grounds through a language, right? By connecting with a bigger audience, right?
Exactly, and I think it's a wonderful thing that's happened now with the English language, that it becomes so universal now that for the first time in human history, there is a world language that can bring people together all around the world. Yeah,
true that. So if we were to look back and especially in your career and retrospect about your journey in music, right? So what would you consider to be one of your best contributions in terms of composition or songwriting? Do you feel content about anything? Could you describe us an instance of the same?
Well, obviously I'm content with a lot of the works that I've composed. Okay. But in general, I would say what I'm most happy with is being able to save the guitar from oblivion. Because at one point it seemed like the acoustic guitar, nobody was using the acoustic guitar anymore. When everything was about studio music and producing music with synthesizers and programs. at one point the guitar didn't seem like something that a young person would be interested in learning.
Correct.
I think that would be the one thing that I'm most happy with, is that we kind of saved the guitar as a instrument for pop music. And it's still our mission we want to encourage people to play the guitar, because it gives so much joy. If you're a young person and you want to know what to do with your life, I would say learn to cook and learn to play guitar, and then you're gonna spread joy wherever you go.
Sure. We have another question again from Nashis. She says, do you find songwriting with other people more satisfying, or just another different process?
Yeah, I would say it's more satisfying, definitely, to be together. Music is very much about being together and feeling communion with other people. So I would say that writing music together with other people is definitely, it's one of the most joyous experiences I have. When I connect with someone musically and I sense that we have ideas that are complementing each other, and that my initial idea benefits from the other person's idea, it's a wonderful experience. And
great. So would you be open to collaborating with musicians from India? Would you consider that?
Yes.
Great. So we have a lot of talent pool in our country. We've got a lot of interesting musicians who are already part of the feed. So you guys have your answer. You guys can hit them up on social media and probably think of a very fun collaboration wherein we have a little bit of Norway with a blend of Indian artists, right? So that'd be a fun thing to see in the next couple of months, maybe, right? So so you've traveled all across the world, right? You've done concerts in Russia, Poland, Denmark, Italy, Germany, a lot of these places. So what would you consider to be one of your best live shows or live experiences in terms of audience, or any incident which made you connect with that with the people of that country in specific?
We've been quite conscious that we wanted to travel to places where not many Western bands would go. So we've been to Philippines, we've been to Indonesia, we've been to Peru, we've been to places where it was not so common for a band from our part of the world to go and play. And these experiences have been special for me. It feels like the gratitude we sense when we go really, really far away is there's a stronger sense of gratitude. Whenever we tour in the UK or United States, it feels like we're just another band, you know, like every night there's a band coming to play in this venue, and it's that special. But when we go to Philippines or Indonesia or Taiwan, it's a more special, it's a more unique experience.
And you've had majority of your success in terms of record sales and all of that in Italy, I believe, right? One of your records did really well in Italy, right? At some point, the Kings of Convenience phase for you.
Yeah, we've had some like one record has peaked in a different country, and with Riot and Empty Street record, Italy was the one country.
So talking about music, records, and all of that. So back, you were someone who has seen different faces. You've seen the vinyl records to like CDs, and now we are in a digital era where we have music which runs by complete streaming. So what is your take on that? How what do you think has changed, and is it for the better, or has it been better back in the day where you had a lot of vinyl records and CDs that did majority of your music sale?
Obviously, it's hard to say that being able to listen to all the music in the world wherever you go is a bad thing. It's very hard to say that, because obviously the benefits they are obvious of streaming. At the time, there are certain things that have changed that are for the worse, and one thing is the process that happened when someone bought a record back in the days, when you bought a vinyl or a CD, you would take it to your house and you would play it. And then, even though you might not be crazy about it, you would play it again the next day because you just bought it, and then you would listen to it a third time or a fourth time, and maybe you did not love it at first, but gradually you learned to like it. And some of my favorite bands have been like this. They have I didn't instantly fall in love with it, but I gradually it grew on me, and I realized that I really, really love this, and then it became my favorite record.
So do you mean to say that people valued it much more? Because right now we can just go to a Spotify or an Apple Music and then we can listen to what we want. Do you mean to say that people used to value their favorite records a little more back in the day? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think the thing that happened was that you could grow to love something, and then that type of love was a different kind of love. It was a more mature love, and it came under your skin. Music could go under your skin more. Where today it's an instant thing. You either love it instantly, or and then you never listen to it again. And so that's one thing. That means that music of today needs to be more catchy and more instant, which isn't always what makes music great.
Great, for sure.
So that's one thing. And then the other thing I've wanted to say is I remember when I was younger, traveling around to cities around the world, this joy of going into a record store.
For sure,
hearing music that was played in that record store, and asking the guy behind the counter, what is this music? What is this amazing music you're playing? And then he told me the record, and then I would buy the record, and then I would travel back to my home, and then I would listen to this record and feel like I found a treasure, a magical treasure. This doesn't happen anymore
nowadays. I feel the same too, man. When I used to be probably 8 years old, I used to love going to these we used to have CDs. I've never seen that age of like vinyl records, but I've seen the CDs or the cassettes. So we used to go to these stores and we used to listen to a lot of music at they used to have like these digital players that used to play all these CD music. So I used to love going to the store and listening to some good music back in the day.
It was
I don't see that happening like you said right now. It's very different. A lot has changed.
It's, in a way, it's making the cities of the world a little bit more boring, because back in the days, a city was a place where you would go and you would find a record store and you would find that music, and it was only you could find it. So that made cities magical, and now cities are not that magical anymore, because they're not the ground of discovering new music.
Correct.
Everything happens on your phone in your house.
Correct. So what's playing on your? Do you have like a daily playlist? What are you listening to nowadays? What's the kind of music that you enjoy listening to? While
about to finish a new Kings of Convenience record, which
Whoa,
means
that's news.
Very, very deep into listening to mixes of the songs. So and this process has taken over a year. So for the last year, I've listened to very little of other people's music. So much of the new recordings that we've made.
That's interesting, man. Like we were really looking forward to it. You guys were planning on putting it out sometime in 2019, if I'm not wrong, right? And you had a couple of challenges, and then you couldn't really put it out. So what's happening with your other project, the Kommode? What's happening with that band?
So Kommode is also very much alive, and this weekend we're doing a new recording session. My home studio. So that's something I'm very eager now. Now we've been mixing Kings of Convenience for 1 year. I'm very eager to start recording new songs. And so the next recording session is a Kommode session.
Great. Really looking forward to that. And in one of your interviews, probably in from one of your concerts in St. Petersburg, it was very hot during the day, and you guys couldn't play in that heat. So you guys decided to call your audience to the beach, and then you guys wanted to like perform at the beach. So how did you get? What's a driving force behind you guys being so sportive about things, and like taking a chill pill and connecting with people? How do you do that? Yeah.
We've done a few times. We've played to people in venues where we felt that the atmosphere was not right for our music. Maybe there were a lot of people there, and half of them didn't know our music. So it was a type of event that was not ideal for presenting.
Okay.
And in these situations, we've often connected to the members of the audience who actually came to see our music, who actually really wanted to see.
Yeah.
We realized that we need to meet these people again under different circumstances. So we've done this a few times, saying to whoever cares, like, let's go to meet us at the beach tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and then we'll cars, and then we can have a chat, and we can play songs to people on a more personal level, and have a.
That's a very, very nice way to connect with your audience and establish.
But it's if we go to another country to play a concert, and then when we're on stage, we realize that this is not the right type of event for us. Like there's a lot of noise in the room, or and we can hear the rock band playing in the other tent. It's important for us to be able to take control of that situation and be able to give what we want to give to the fans out there, and give them an experience that they actually really will cherish. So we've had a few of those. It happened, I remember one time, it was in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. It was a big stage, a lot of people, and half of them were not paying attention at all. Like there was so much talk, and
that gets very annoying for a musician, please. Like when he's trying to play music.
Quiet music, it's very hard. So
very hard. Really, really hard to engage with that kind of an audience for sure.
Meet tomorrow in Ipanema Beach, and
oh wow,
12 o'clock, and then a lot of people came.
Great, man. Look, I think the cool part about you guys is that you guys have established this whole trend of connecting with your audience and being very, very chill about it, right? Like I don't see a lot of musicians do that. You guys are very easily approachable, and you guys want to spend some time with your audience, and you call them out for like a private party.
You have to make sure you don't get too famous. That's
very true.
That's true. If you get too famous, then you need a bodyguard, and then you need a secret hotel.
That's a hassle altogether. Yeah, for sure. So could you tell us a little bit about your experience working with Coldplay's producer Ken Nelson? I believe he had worked with you for the I'd Rather Dance With You record, right? He was working with you on that?
He worked our first record, Quiet Is New Loud. We recorded in Liverpool, where Ken Nelson was working.
Right.
At the same time, we were there at the same time as Coldplay was recording the first album. So we had to take a week off when they were doing recording, and then they were for a week, and then we were in there, and the engineer and the producer was the same people. We met them a few times, and we played on the same piano. And when I hear that first Coldplay record, I recognize the sound of the rooms of Quiet Is New Loud, because I spent 3 months.
Are you talking about Parachutes?
Yeah. The Parachutes album. So there's similarity in the sound, obviously, because of Ken Nelson and his aesthetics. He was on live performances, like he wanted everything to be done live, and if you messed up, he didn't want to use Pro Tools to cut up the performance and make it rhythmical or auto-tuned. So he would always say, "Play it again. You can do it. You can do it better." So it ended up taking 3 months recording the album.
Wow. Okay. So this was probably just one album, or are you still working with him?
No, this was the first album. We've mostly worked with an Italian producer named Davide Bertolini, who he lives in Norway.
Okay.
But on this new record that we now made, we work with 4 different producers in.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, one in Berlin, one in Sweden, one in Norway, some guys in Santiago, Chile.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very international record.
Looking forward to that. A lot of people are asking for the dates, but I'm not going to ask you to give out the dates till you guys are completely done.
It seems like a plan that's been made in the next year.
Okay, but we're really looking forward to it, man. Like it's been a while, and we want to listen to some new Kings of Convenience stuff, and also the Kommode stuff that you're working on. I really love the new project too. It's very different. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. A lot of others have some questions for you. Let me quickly scroll through that. So someone says, how did you become such a great guitar player? And how did you get into music, which you already answered? What else would you be doing if not for a musician? Do you have any alternate career plans?
I have. I'm actually trained as a psychologist, so I have.
Wow.
I
Okay.
spent 7 years in university.
Okay.
I specialized in architectural psychology, which is the study of how the physical environment affects people.
Okay.
So if I was not a musician, I would easily do that as my day job. I do it sometimes giving lectures and consultant work, but music is my #1 priority. So most of I spend them as a musician, and I love music so much. So when I'm done with a record, what I really, really want to do is start to make another. So I take that I've chosen the right.
Right. I can totally relate because my grandfather also happens to be a psychologist. He's had a very interesting story. He went to the Harvard back in the 60s, and he worked in Harvard as a professor. And he came down to India, and then he decided to specialize in textile psychology out of everything else.
What is?
Yeah, that's a niche. That's a niche I've never been able to understand. But he's contributed a lot to the South Indian textile research work that they do. Yeah.
Textile, as in fabrics.
Yes.
Okay. Textile.
So textile psychology. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know much about the niche. But he's got a lot of interesting stories about.
That's a great.
Yeah. So I just want to put it across because I could totally relate to whatever you said.
That's psychology for everything. Wherever there are humans, there is a psychology.
There is a need for that, for sure. And so how is the whole COVID scenario right now in Bergen? Are you in Bergen right now? Where are you at?
I'm in Bergen, and things are very quiet. So restaurants are open, schools are open, stores are open, but everybody's wearing masks, and it's very quiet. So it's been here. The situation has been never evolving into a drastic situation because the lockdown came quite quickly, and we actually had concerts this summer in Norway.
So you do streaming concerts, right? You don't do the normal live shows.
This summer we had physical concerts in Norway.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Special events with only 200 people, and it was outdoors, and there was a meter between the member of the audience. So it's been it's been a very quiet year, which was great for the part of the process we're now mixing the record. We had done all the recordings when the COVID situation happened, and then it was quite perfect, the timing for us to be able to spend a year mixing a record. but it's obviously it's been a lot more challenging for other people. So we've been quite fortunate. Yeah.
So how is the indie music market in Norway? Probably when you started out in the 90s compared to today, what significant change do you see, and is it heading in the right direction in terms of the music market? Yeah,
I think something that's happened is that a lot of types of music have been given exposure now with the internet made it possible for things that were too obscure. You can actually find an audience now, and that's one of the wonderful things about SoundCloud, for example. How you can start a band and nobody knows you, and then very quickly people can discover what you do.
But no one's been able to discover Daft Punk till date. Yeah, that's one way to like not disclose your identity.
Yeah. But you can have a secret identity and really music. But at the same I sense that what's being heard now by the world is music that's already popular. Like this exponential exposure. If your song gets 1 million plays in the first day, it will get 10 plays the next day. But then within next month, you're reaching 100 million. And if you don't hit that trajectory, if you're not lucky in those first initial hours of the release, nobody will hear your music. So I think there's a problem today that there's a lot of great music that's out there that's
being unheard of.
It's not really being discovered because back in the days it was the radio DJs, like they will pick stuff they really loved and expose it to the world, and then sooner or later, it could take time, but sooner or later the great music got played on radio because the DJs were there. And now it's only the algorithms and the computations.
Do you see that as a flaw? Do you see that as a flaw in the system right now?
Totally, because it means that there's a lot of great music that's not getting exposure, and a lot of stuff that's only really popular because it's popular. You know, it got 1 million plays in the first hour, and therefore it gets 10 million plays in the next. So I mean, it's not because it's that amazing. It's just because you got lucky in the algorithms.
Right.
You
really can't gauge, right? You really can't gauge your audience that way, right? You don't know like what's like where your targeted audience is, and it gets very hard for you to gauge like what's the market for you, at least for you in terms of your kind of music, right? So I see that as a huge flaw in terms of gauging your market and understanding your market, understanding your audience, basically.
Well, when we get that statistics insights, that's part of the Spotify program. What Spotify does to keep their artists happy. Artists are not paid a lot, obviously, by Spotify, but Spotify is trying to make up for this by giving them insights, and that's a helpful tool, especially when you want to go and play live shows. You can easily see where are my fans. You will know which cities in the world are people listening to your music, and that's where you go and play a live show. So that's a very good thing. I'd say there are many benefits in that. But yeah, I would want DJs to still be around, and many still have radios that people are still listening to radio, even though you have the internet. You still have a radio in your house, and there are radio programs, and there are DJs selecting music that they love. In our country, we've closed down the FM signal, and it reopened this digital radio thing called DAB, digital. We no longer have FM radio in Norway.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Digital radio, which was a huge mistake, I would say, because all the old radios, the old little boxes that people had in their houses, had to be thrown away, and everybody was encouraged to buy a new little digital radio box, and people didn't buy a new digital radio box because they already had the internet on their phone, and that kind of meant radio died.
Okay.
in Norway, radio has died, and I really hope that other countries don't make the same mistake. So whenever someone says we need to create a new type of radio, digital radio, say no. You should keep your old FM system, because that means there will still be a role to play for radio.
Right. We do have a lot of radio stations in India as well. It's quite active, but not a lot of indie music playing on the radio, at least in India. Right? So we have very selected radio stations that play a lot of indie music. Otherwise, it's more of the film music that's being played on the radio. Right? Yeah, we have a couple of questions for you. Actually, a lot of people are quite curious to know a lot of other things. Kings of Convenience, you make good music. Okay. Yeah, would you be interested in producing an Indian artist's music if, in case you happen to like it?
Of course. If the love is there, obviously that would be interesting.
Great. So you have your answer, Nashis. And do you have an instrument or something? Could you play us a little piece, or could you sing a few lines of one of your next songs?
I don't have an instrument here. I'm actually in my apartment, in my studio now.
Okay, that's all right. Don't worry then.
Usually I have a guitar here, but not today.
Okay. All right. And what else do we have for you here? A lot of people want you to come back to San Sebastian Jazzaldi. Is that a festival?
San Sebastian, yeah. There's a festival in San Sebastian that we have played a few times. Yeah.
Right. So you also have some merchandise, right, on your page. So what's new? Are you guys putting out like some kind of Christmas merchandise, exclusive Christmas merchandise for Kings of Convenience?
We don't want to go too commercial. So we've been quite reluctant with our not pushing our merchandise in too much. But for people who want it, they can go to our sayyes.eu. It's run by a friend of us in Italy who designed our merchandise, and we try to keep it low key and high quality.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of people. We have a lot of fans here, man. There's someone who says, I replay your music so often, and it makes me feel so calm and warm during different parts of the day.
That makes me. Yeah. I want to. Obviously, I'm very happy when people tell me that my music is useful to them. When they say that our music is of use to them, that's when I make what makes me most happy. And I have this idea that I want to play music that can be used in certain situations. And a lot of people tell me that they use Kings of Convenience for relaxation. Like when they feel stressed, they get relief by Kings of Convenience. And then Kommode was initially a plan to make people dance, and then I realized that my music is a little bit too slow for dancing. So we've ended up being the music you put on just before the music that makes everybody dance. So it's
like slow dancing of sorts.
Or the intermediary between the chill out music and the dance music.
Okay. Right. Alexander has a question. He says, will the next album come as a vinyl as well?
Yes, we are very conscious that we have fans who really treasure vinyl records, and we've been giving our record company a very clear message that they have to put this out as a vinyl.
Okay. So another very interesting question from Marmazon, who says, would it be if I say that I'm going to use Parallel Lines as a main theme music for my wedding?
Main theme for your wedding? That's a wonderful.
Yeah. Would you recommend that?
That's a wonderful idea. I would totally recommend Parallel Lines for your wedding. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah. So when is your next concert in with Erland?
We are already planning shows that have already been postponed. So it's very hard to predict the future now. Obviously, everybody's waiting for this vaccine and hoping that the COVID situation is going to calm down.
For sure.
We are very optimistic about the summer of 2021. But no announcements have been made, and things are a little bit up in the air at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another very interesting question. What do you think is the love situation in the world right now?
The love situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sense there is definitely love in the world, for sure. And I feel a little, there's something that's happened with the pandemic, is that everybody has been reminded that we're all in the same boat. Everybody is reminded that the human race is fragile and human life is fragile, and we need to take care of each other. And basically, we're not in control, but we need to do our best. And the love situation is benefiting from that. There's a stronger sense of fragility and being vulnerable, and at the same time being aware of existence.
Okay. So I don't want to take more of your time. So to conclude, I would request you to give some piece of advice for a lot of upcoming musicians who are part of this feed from different parts of the world. So what would be your closing note for the day?
Closing note is obviously when you love something, you need to develop a craft or a skill to be able to make other people love that too. And spending a lot of hours perfecting what you do is never a bad idea. Whatever it is you love, if you've developed a fine craft to expose and present this idea to the world, chances are bigger that someone else is going to appreciate it too. So just work very hard and let love be the driving force. Yeah.
Thank you, Eirik. Thank you so much for that piece of advice. And I'd really like to thank you for this privilege. You know, I've had the privilege to talk to you for so long. A lot of love from India. We really hope that you come down to India sometime.
Probably, make it happen.
Also stay in touch with me. I can also send out some good music coming out from India. You can check out a lot of Indian artists too. They're quite talented, right?
And
yes. We will definitely stay in touch. And thank you so much again for all of your valuable time. And I hope you had fun.
Thank you too. Great interview. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Watching.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.